from the king that he was actually working with Orcus for his own benefit and safety, and was subsequently arrested and taken to the dungeons. You then looted his treasure hoard a second time and got a few more items, to buff yourselves for the oncoming fight. This was after you had met a blood mage necromancer that was kind of leading a group of them as part of this resistance movement that fought back, and everybody banded together to wipe out the undead that was inhabiting the city, causing them to flee. And at this point in time, you guys took a long rest inside the castle, mostly empty. Hadvar, you did receive a note from the Shadow Fox.
And I sent one back.
You did. And Phineas was finally able to speak with you, Amora, where you reached out to him and he was overwhelmed to hear back from you because he assumed the worst. But the day is yours. You guys are up relatively early, well rested after a hard fight the day before, and ex Nobis, what would you like to do?
Well, I don't
know about you guys, but I'm still pretty tired. Maybe we should just turn in again.
And a second long rest.
Excellent. All of my spell slots are re-restored.
Hmm?
We have to really make sure we get all of our stuff back after being in that town.
Right. Several long rests. I'm going to take a week in the castle and just kind of treat myself and, sleep in the king's bed. All that jazz.
I would like to go ahead and say that I appeared to the rest of the party to still be under the effects of the enlarge spell.
Okay. So Hadvar is still enormous, despite a more roll an Arcana check. Just one. Good. How many dice now? I hear like 800 dice roll.
I'm going to use my itty bitty.
Never mind. It only lasts. Well, yeah. Okay. So for like the first like hour, you just see me like sitting there, just like really big, just tapping my staff every minute or so.
Now, is it safe to assume at this point? I know that there's no real way that we would know, but like, is it safe to assume that we have spell slots back now?
Yeah. Long rest, all the benefits of it.
I just wanted to make sure that there was not some other sort of situation that was keeping us from doing that. And we thought
when Minasara took that Yavapai red jasper stone, that shell dissipated.
That's right. Okay. Cool.
And you saw magic being thrown all over the place from the residents of Battleborn to fight off this undead.
It could have been such reserve. They're so reserved with their magic.
Well, once they learned that the Paladin Order was wiped out and they couldn't regain their spells, nobody wanted to use their spells, which is why the city was taken so easily by the undead and by the Grey and by Orcus. There was no magical resistance against them at all. And it's almost impossible, especially for a Paladin Order who relies on their holy magic.
Yeah, I'd say that would be an issue.
Yeah. But that danger is now past. Battleborn is free. They need a king. However, that doesn't seem to be Ex Nobis's issue or problem to deal with. Unless you want to make it your problem.
I kind of look at Barrow and we kind of are leaving them without any sort of leadership. I mean, what's to say somebody else just doesn't come up and make a muck of everything again? What is their point of secession? Like, do they have? I'm gonna ask somebody
You would
who would
know.
be next.
Roll a history check.
History.
What was the guy's name that helped us out?
Tux.
Tux.
The captain of the Open Palm in Battleborn, Captain Tux.
Captain Tux.
That's a two.
You know, you're not familiar with a lot of the Dwarven monarchy. You knew that the king and queen ruled here. You don't know if there is any plan of succession. You know, every monarchy is going to run itself a little differently. The gnome monarchy down in up in Wizardton from your base of operations. There was the High Elf Council that runs itself a little differently. There's the human monarchy that runs itself a little differently, and they all have their own rules and regulations. So it's not something that you've ever really delved into to know about.
I mean, we really don't have any say in how things go here. I do have to say though, I'm a little bit weirded out by the blood magic guy that was just trying to put himself on the throne. That kind of gave me a weird feeling. I don't really dig that.
He does seem like a odd fellow. And you see Bean come in to the room shirtless in his underwear, just kind of scratching his belly. His mustache is all floofed out. You can see he probably had a really good night's sleep. But he is just out in the open here. I don't really trust folk like that, but I gotta say that's a little rich coming from someone like me.
Now, I mean, we can't just assume mal intentions just because they use something like blood magic. I mean, he was right.
There's something to be said for that. He was trying to be honest. I don't know what his intentions are, but to just assume the role of leadership in such a capacity, I don't know if that would sit well with the people.
Do they have some sort of council?
You wouldn't know. Based on your history check, you know that the king and queen.
I'm asking the rest of the group.
If you do want to roll a history check, you can.
I gotta say, I think with an 18, I might actually know about this kind of deal.
So you know that the king and queen of Battleborn have ruled for 3 centuries. King Eoden and Queen Shara. They have had no children. They had one advisor that died in service in the line of duty about 100 years ago, and he was never replaced. The Open Palm has kind of taken the role of Kingsguard along with the Paladin Order of Bahamut. And the leader of that Paladin Order was kind of the advisor, but at this point, you know they've been wiped out.
Because I mean, and I don't want to get too crazy with it here because Barrows lived out in the freaking woods. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
you've lived close enough.
Or what I have talked to men, heard anywhere from someone that talked about how things would work in a line of succession there, that type of deal.
I don't think you would know, especially with no children. Typically, a line of succession in any monarchy would go to the next of kin.
So I've got this crazy idea. All right. Now listen. I know this is insane, but what if everybody got together and they all chose like a group of people to represent them, and then those people sat in a room together and I don't know, made decisions about what might happen based on the wants and needs of those who like voted them into that position.
I don't know about that. I mean, it sounds like nothing would ever get done. Like
You're
literally,
also giving power to a good million or two dimwits.
I'm just saying, like, what if these people get paid off? What do they make?
Oh yeah, no. See, no. We'll have two.
Like, stuff.
We'll have opposing people. Like we'll have checks and balances. Like nothing will be able to be done. Like if things aren't going right, the people, if they don't see any action, they can just pull somebody out of office and put somebody out.
It almost sounds like the way them high elves do things. Now I'm not too familiar with that, but they only got 3 people on that board, 5 people on that board, if I'm not mistaken, and they seem to get things done relatively well. However, they are representative of districts and cities. It could work. I'm not too familiar with how they operate, but they have operated for, gosh, millennia.
Do in this world, do the dwarves and the elves kind of have the same token? Not so happy with each other. Okay. Yeah. Let's
elves
leave
themselves have that at an even greater level.
Okay.
The drow, the wood elves, and the high elves are even more at odds than they are with any other race because they all see themselves as better than the other races, and in between them, they all want to be that pinnacle of society.
Okay. Well, let's leave out the whole elvish culture thing when we bring this up. If we do bring it up, that's probably like ixnay on the Lelvish.
Lelflay.
Lelflay.
Yeah. I'm not too familiar with old Draconic, so it's a little strange to me, but I see what you're saying.
Ultimately, I feel like they should determine the system of government that they want for themselves. Because I'm not from here. Like, we're not from here.
I hear a screeching bald eagle in the background, and I feel like since we liberated them, we get to tell them how to run their country.
I mean, there is some.
I don't see how that checks out, but I'm more than willing to try.
Where
I come from, it was a wild eastern sea, and things just kind of went the way they wanted to go. So if we want to try something, I'm right on board with you, Hadvar.
Well, thanks, Victor.
I'm okay with trying for it. I think that if they don't go for it, and I think there's a possibility that they won't, I feel like Altera might be a good choice.
I say we pitch them the idea, and we leave them to figure it out.
It's also none of my business, and I don't really want to put my hands in any pies that I'm not supposed to.
I'm just playing with this really cool scarab that we found.
Just sitting by yourself, not even bothered by this conversation.
And this nifty new sword.
We're talking about religion and politics.
I have shiny new objects.
Occupying yourself.
If they don't go for that system, my vote would definitely be on Altera. she was shown to me in a vision by Paylor, and I would say that probably would not be a bad idea. She seems headstrong, but she seems no. You don't like...
she's awfully young there, Barrow. I don't see her in any role of leadership. I understand she's taking initiative. She's a bright young lass, don't get me wrong. I just don't see her in a queen-like capacity at this point in her life.
I mean, haven't there been kings and queens that were younger than her?
Oh, it's very possible, but if I had to throw anybody's name into the ring, I'd probably say that open palm fellow.
I'm nowhere near
That Tux, I think
Yeah,
his name.
yeah, I got that.
He seems to be all right. He didn't have any animosity towards the last king. That seems to be what a leader should have.
Is Tux nearby?
The last you saw me was in the dungeon guarding the king.
I'd like to go find him.
You guys want to tag along, or do you want to let Hadvar go by himself?
I was gonna say I'll see him walking away, and I'll get up and.
Okay. So Titan follows Barrow, and Bean follows you, Hadvar. He's kind of, I don't want to say tethered to you in the same regard, but he's.
Yeah, I mean.
So you guys make your way back down to the dungeon. 20 minutes later, you arrive. You find Tux asleep in his chair, and you can hear like a tap, maybe every 5 seconds against stone coming from the cell.
All right. I would like to. Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of like, if he's asleep on the chair, I just kind of want to like, kind of like kneel down in front of him, like, hey.
You see him sleeping there, and his well-groomed short beard that comes to a point, his slicked back hair in a ponytail, silver gray, hands folded on his chest, and you tap him on the shoulder, and one eye just like pink, like shoots open and like stares right at you. And his hands, you now realize, are already on his sword in what seemed like a blink of an eye.
Easy there, Tux. It's just me.
Can I help you?
Yeah, we kind of have a conversation I think that needs to happen before me and my little party here leave your quaint little town.
It's an old accent you've picked up there. But yeah, ask me anything you want. I'm just surprised.
I didn't hear what you said.
It's an old accent you've picked up there.
Oh.
I just wasn't expecting it. That's all.
And I'm gonna kind of like motion away from, basically I want to step away so the king doesn't get the formerly known as king.
You see him, that tapping is just him picking up pebbles off the ground. He's just sitting there and just throwing them at the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Just doing nothing. And so you leave Tux.
Yeah, I just don't want to be within earshot.
No, it's fine. You take Tux down the hallway, and you walk. Now, these halls do echo, so you have to walk a good distance. If you want, Bean can stay behind and just keep an eye on him.
Yeah, I was going to have Beans just watch the king, just kind of hang out.
He'll stay behind.
Either of them can, any of the, like, if Barrow and them want to, like, follow me, that's fine. I'm not trying to be
secretive. You just don't want to be in earshot of the king. I understand.
Yeah.
So you move him away. Okay. All right, boy. What do you want to tell me?
So it seems, given everything that's happened here, we've left you without a leader, without a king, without any direction.
Aye, if Dulox had anything to say about it, he'd sit on the throne himself.
Well, that's what I have to ask. What are your dwarven laws that mandate these things? What happens next?
I not quite my specialty, but I do know that the next in line would have been the advisor, but he died, 150 years ago or something. Granted, since the death of the Paladin Order, I stepped into that role next to the king. However, he had not been seen for quite some time. I was more or less running things until we got word from the King's Hall. It has been a strange time. For the past year, just no contact with. And he looks down the hall. That man down there. I don't know what became of him, but he seems to be back to normal.
Well, too little, too late, I say.
Aye.
He was
true.
obviously not good enough to rule, as he led your entire city into Orcus's clutches and led to the massacre of unknown numbers of your clans. So,
To answer your question, I suppose I was running things while he was behind closed doors.
Do you think you could continue to run things? Say, in a
The thought had
more
crossed my
permanent?
mind. I don't know. I don't know how the people would take it. I don't know if the open palm would let me.
I wouldn't. You. Oh wait, hold on. Let me retract that. So he is open palm. So
He
what
was
I'm
the captain
gathering.
of the guard.
That's right. So what I'm gathering is he's worried that his oath to the open palm would keep him from being able to assume
To break
that.
away and rule a city, you know.
Well,
it's like trying to, in America, it'd be like trying to be the head of the FBI and then being president at the same time.
yeah, I got you. Huh. Well,
I could send a message to Master Grond. She is wise.
no, I visibly grimace when he says that. Like, I try to hide it, but I am very, like,
Understandable.
overt when he says that.
Are you at odds with her in any capacity? Have you met her?
Uh, yes, yeah, we've met. Not under
And you
the
see his
best
eyes
of
light
them.
up for a second. Lieutenant Dupont. Aye. Had I known this would have been different from the beginning. I'm so sorry. The Shadow Vein, where have they been? We could have used them.
Well, sadly, they've been needed a lot of different places, but right now they're currently in Wizardton, assisting this.
You've said as much. It's great to see you. People have spoken of you for years.
I'm glad that my.
And
I'm
the other
glad that
two,
I have
I don't know them, but if they're traveling in your company, I can only imagine they're as capable as the infamous Shadow Vein.
We're pretty good.
Yeah.
Well,
They're
you've
quite
proven yourself at the gates of the throne room, so, and not to mention the gates of the palace. It was quite a feat to push back on those undead. I digress. I can speak with Master Grond. If you would put a word in for me, it might help.
with Master Grunt.
Aye, yes, she speaks highly of you always.
I fear that might change. And then this next part, I put my hand on him and I kind of wave to Barrow quickly and say, "Hey, I'm gonna send a message using my cantrip message and say, hey, give me a second." And then this next part, I'm actually going to just message you, Anthony.
Oh,
And then I'll come back. So
okay.
I'll message it to you when we move on to what everybody else wants to do.
Okay. You see Bean, who is now fully clothed at this point, by the way, playing his banjo and just kind of speaking with Aoden Battleborn. You see Aoden kind of leaning against the bars like this, and you can see Victor Bean just kind of plucking his banjo and just speaking with him while you guys are away from the cell.
What you doing, Bean?
Oh, we're just having a polite conversation about his past experience over the last 4 years. I'm quite intrigued myself, since, oddly enough, we might have gone through some similar situations. Just trying to enlighten myself. Perhaps get us some background on what we may be running into.
Cool. I'm gonna go and play with Scythe a little bit.
Okay, Scythe was with Bean at the moment, and you've noticed that Scythe has taken a liking to the music that Bean plays. You see him kind of wag his tail and bark and kind of howl and kind of prance around anytime Bean really actually plays. But anytime he hears the strings being plucked, you see his ears just kind of perk and like turn straight towards Bean. He seems to have an affection to him. But he runs over to you at your immediate command. He runs to you, and you're able to just kind of hang out with him for a moment and check his straps, make sure his barding's on correctly, and all that.
See, and I thought I was gonna check to see what type of magic, like if there was any type of magic coming out of that. But
out of his banjo?
He just liked the banjo music.
Are you casting detect magic?
Yeah, well, I was just gonna looking for Arcana. Well, no, so I would have to do detect magic, which would take me 10 minutes just to sit there. I'm really on my way. He's just. We can clearly.
Or Hadvar can just wave his staff.
His new staff.
His new staff.
You're not there at the moment, so if you were there, yes, that is an option. But okay, so you Hadvar finish your conversation with Tux. You make an intelligence check.
Just blanket intelligence?
Yep.
All right, that's a 17.
You have the realization that with this shell around Battleborn for as long as it's been here, he has no idea what's happened to you within the Open Palm, and only realizes that you are the famed lieutenant of the Black Ops group that has done more than anyone else for the Open Palm in years. So he has this, although he is higher in rank than you, you can see that there is an obvious attraction there of almost fame, this kind of celebrity persona you give off.
Okay. All right. I can.
As a high-ranking member of the Open Palm, he would have been privy to the information, at least in some capacity. And once he put 2 and 2 together, you've kind of won him over at that point.
Okay.
So you and Tux, you walk back towards the cell, towards Bean. Barrow and Amora, you see that Tux is kind of like chuckling as they both kind of walk back, and you see him pat the side of Hadvar, which is probably your ribs. You know, he just. It's good to see you. For once, it's interesting to put a face to the name.
It's good to meet someone that's reliable and a friend.
Well, you'll have your reinforcements in the Griffin Riders and the. Don't trust Dulox. I don't trust him. But he is powerful enough to help. If the last couple of days weren't evidence enough of that, I don't know what would be.
Well, I'll definitely keep my eye on him.
And the rest of you, if he's riding with you, more than one pair of eyes is necessary. He's a snake. Well, I guess that settles it. I'll have a conversation with the rest of the people. They've looked up to me enough. Perhaps we can start anew. Once, of course, I speak with Master Grond.
And I'm gonna go ahead and say something to him real quick as we're leaving. I'm gonna say, I know you've been with the Open Palm for a number of years. Don't keep all your eggs in just one basket. You never know what tomorrow might bring you.
Aye. And he puts his hand out for a nice ombre shake, the big clasp of the forearm.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like the big, yeah.
You see him wince a little bit when you slap his arm. Ooh. That belt, man. Still some getting used to. You hear a pop in his shoulder. Oh. No, I'm fine. It's it needed to crack.
You know?
Mending.
But Battleborn here, he'll be looking at the noose in a week's time. Just a few more loose ends to tie up, and I think he'll be ready.
Well, keep your head on a swivel.
Aye. You as well, all of you. Your help was greatly appreciated. Please, if you ever come back to Battleborn, let me know right away.
Absolutely.
Well, best of luck and Godspeed.
And to you as well.
You see him sit back in his chair and just kind of take a deep breath and just look at the king or previous king and just kind of have that moment of realization of this passing of the crown to the man who's going to murder the previous king. An interesting position to be in. But you guys make your way back upstairs. Bean puts his banjo away, and you guys make your way outside of the palace, and you can see the city under the bright sun busy again, filled with people. Celebration has already kicked off this early morning. You can hear shouts and laughters throughout the entire city. As you look down the mountainside, it is buzzing with activity.
Was there anything else that we need to do here before we left?
Well, I guess we need to actually finally decide who we're taking with us.
I thought we did. I thought we were on the Griffin Riders. Because that was a backup plan to the getting to the floating island. the floating castle.
And they'd be able to handle their own with the magic.
I thought we were talking about bringing the
Peasants?
blood magic people.
It was the
Yeah.
Griffin Riders and Blood Mages, or
Or
like
the
400 of the
contingency of
civilians that would be able to just tag along.
Okay.
yeah. We chose on the magic users and the
fewer
the blood
numbers,
riders.
but more firepower, essentially.
I mean, Tuck's warning us about this guy. That just makes me feel.
I'd rather him with us then instead of here unsupervised. We could at least keep him in check.
Less
guess.
likely for Orcus to
And also-
influence.
And well, also,
I don't think anybody is less susceptible to the influence of a demon lord, but with the control over the undead, I can tell you that's not going to make Orcus happy. That's his job.
Yeah, I think we made the right choice here. We can now use our ships to get as many people as we can up there that don't already have the ability to get themselves up there.
What about the crystals?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the crystals.
It's an unknown. If you want to try to use one, I'd be afraid of where you end up. I'm not exactly sure what kind of magic is associated with something of this capacity.
How big are one of those crystals compared to my owl?
Compared to your... I'm sorry, what?
Owl?
What about your owl?
I was thinking, what if I had...
Crystal size versus owl size.
Oh, the crystals are no bigger than maybe the palm of your hand, and they are fragile. When you hold them, they almost feel hollow, like a glass shell, but they are obvious minerals. They are definitely some sort of crystalline substance.
Can can you hand me can I have one?
You want them?
And I'm gonna, because now I've got the belt of cloud giant strength on, I'm going to as careful as possible.
Yeah.
Because you've now witnessed Hadvar destroy half of them.
Careful.
And you smash it.
On my face.
I was thinking the try to chomp it.
Yeah, now we only have 107 of these, including the one that you're holding. I stayed up last night and I counted. So be careful. I am somebody that likes round numbers for some reason. I don't know why that is. But we could have one of the owls try it and see where they are.
Well, I certainly can't hurt unless you have some sort of affection for your creature.
I can bring them back.
All right, let's give it a shot. Who wants to throw the crystal at this owl?
Oh man. Not you guys, because you will kill my owl.
Why don't you just tell him to squeeze it real hard? Maybe
Yeah, I
that'll...
was going to say, you should be able to squeeze it, right?
You should. What's an owl's strength?
I'm gonna pocket
I don't
my
know what
crystal.
term it is that you're talking about.
How strong is my owl? He is a 3, so he's a -4 strength.
I don't know what these numbers are that you're talking about. Why are you just randomly talking about numbers?
You don't know magic. Don't.
Oh,
Don't involve yourself in the arcane. It's a complex numerical.
So I'm gonna bamf into my owl. I don't know
That's
if
not
this
dangerous.
works.
Sure.
Although I realize this is probably a bad idea, considering this is what happened to Battleborn and I got stuck.
Well, you know. So you want the owl to squeeze one of the crystals?
Yeah, I'm gonna decide not to look through it because he's gonna be clearly far away. I'm not gonna be able to see If he's
You don't know where it goes.
Yeah, where he goes.
I mean, why wouldn't you look through his eyes, though?
Because I got stuck in his freaking head when the crystal was here in Battleborn, and I couldn't get back. So if he is somewhere where magic is not allowed to be passed through, I am going to be stuck and not be able to tell you where I'm at.
Oh.
I think she's talking about the shell here in Battleborn, but I'm not familiar with that spell enough to know its intricacies.
So I'm just going to have the owl itself bite it, and then I will wait and then call it back.
Okay. So you see the owl pick it up.
Hold on. Hold on.
Wait.
He goes,
The owl has it in its beak, and it's just kind of.
I imagine it's like a golden retriever. He's holding it so nice.
It's in his, I mean, their beaks are like pointed down, so it's just kind of like it's like sticking out from his mouth. He just kind of has it. You see him like, shuffling his shoulders a little bit, and you see him hop a couple times.
Maybe you should.
Just double checking something. I read this before, but okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Ready to
I'm
try
gonna
it?
I'm gonna cast protection from good and evil on her owl, just in case.
Boots McGee, and I'm gonna go. I don't know if this is gonna work, but
You squash the owl.
I'm gonna pet him and I'm gonna give him guidance.
Okay. Okay. So he has protection from good and evil and guidance. And Amora, you tell him to break it.
Yes.
He bites down with his beak and he cracks the crystal, and you see it shatter. And immediately in front of him, a black hole with a purple ring around it opens up from this orange crystal, and he is sucked in, and it closes.
That went out of the thing.
And he's gone.
Two was the guidance.
Okay.
I don't know if that helps with anything, but there it is.
And you see him vanish into this portal.
Gonna wait. Just gonna.
I'm gonna take my hand and I'm gonna wave it where it was, where the portal
Air.
was.
Doesn't feel any different. No hot or cold.
Do I smell anything?
A little bit of what would smell like an electrical burn.
Like ozone smell.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'll bring it back.
So you snap your fingers to get him into your pocket dimension.
Yeah.
Is that right? And
Yeah.
then you're gonna try to bring him back here.
Yes, because I put it in my pocket and then I snap him back.
Okay. Nothing happens.
Oh.
You sense that there is a disconnect from him.
That's the game. He gets a 5. Clearly. I don't know if this will work.
Are you able to try and see through his eyes now? Or are you afraid that you're still gonna get trapped?
I'm afraid I'm gonna get trapped.
Okay.
I'm gonna cast sending to my owl.
Okay. What do you say?
Just, Kit, where are you? Are you okay?
You cast the spell and it doesn't reach anything. It's a sign of some sort of arcane barrier, or he's no longer alive.
Yeah.
And sending can go across planes of existence. So
Yeah.
Oh, so sending didn't work?
sending did not reach her owl.
All right. So whenever we get a chance, I will recast it. Not sending. I will redo.
Find familiar?
Yeah. So whenever if we have
We'll say
time,
you take the 11 minutes to do it now, and you mark 10 gold off.
an hour and 10 minutes.
An hour and 10 minutes. An hour and 1 minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An hour and 1 minute. Which is ridiculous. But
61
all right.
minutes.
The 1 minute, yeah. Because it's ritual cast, it's 1 extra minute. All right, so you do that. You get your owl, but if you want it to be an owl, you have the opportunity to change its form.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it an owl.
So Kit comes back and you see him kind of hair, the feathers on the back of his neck kind of stand up, and he just kind of shakes himself and hops to you.
I am so sorry. Can you tell me what happened?
And he just kind of nuzzles you and just kind of is an owl. And you speak telepathically with him, and he relays that he left, appeared somewhere, and was shot.
Shot or
Shot.
shot?
Like,
Pew.
Could he tell anything but his surroundings at all? If you want, I can roll for him.
yeah, roll him a retconned perception check to see how much he was able to take in his 12 seconds.
While she's doing that, do you remember what?
Wait. I know, but just a question. Because they did guidance. Does that count for anything?
No.
Because he got...
No.
Well, I mean...
No.
I mean, I did it before he went in there, but, whatever.
Okay. I'm making sure. Wait.
Do you remember what color the bag of tricks was that we found?
Kyle asked that at the beginning of this. Rust. I said brown thinking rust by accident.
Cool. Very cool. Kyle, you are frozen.
14.
With a very smug look on your face.
Yes.
You take a picture of Kyle. All right, stand by. Oh no! Oh, we wanted a picture of that. All right, that's fine.
Brandon's recording this, so I can just
make the same face. It was kind of like this. All right, 14. He was able to see a courtyard. He was able to see a fountain in a courtyard. No water running, but it was a large statue that appeared to be like a fountain.
Does this sound like the courtyard we were in looking for the gray when we were, it was the tournament day and we were in a courtyard with wells?
You were looking for the well in the midst of a residential area. There were no fountains there. But when you went up to the palace to interact with the king on the day of his announcement, which was the day that all this went down, you did pass by two fountains that bordered the front gates of the palace. There were two large grassy areas, each housing a fountain on either side, about 10 feet tall. It's a large fountain. And based on the very generic description that Kit is able to give you with his brief time through this portal, you can surmise that it took him to the front yard of the palace of Wizardton.
As in the one that's floating up in the air.
Yes.
And was he able to see any? I know he was shot, but was he able to see if there were any guards in the courtyard, any undead in the courtyard, or was it just completely open and fair?
Several figures, and as he was trying to take in his surroundings, he was pierced with an arrow.
Question.
Yeah.
Spell that I could have used.
Teleportation circle in the vicinity of there?
There is. You would have to know what it looks like. You would have to know the sigil for Wizarton's teleportation circle, but there is one.
Is there anybody that does know it that I know of? Like the person that
Captain
we're sending?
Grayless would probably know it, your arcane mentor back at the Open Palm headquarters.
What about Tux?
Tux is not an arcane user.
I've got a
Phineas would know it.
Who?
Phineas, wand letter.
Okay, would he be able to communicate that to me?
No, you can't communicate something as intricate as a sigil that you would have to study and look at for a period of time.
Yeah.
Phineas Wandletter is the head of the College of Magic. He's the dean over in Wizarton's. It's the magic center of the continent where all of this went down. That's where it all started. He is the dean of that college.
Is there a teleportation circle at the place the outpost where I was stationed?
Yeah.
And I would know that?
Yeah. You would have seen that enough times to kind of be able to recreate that at this point. To get to the Open Palm headquarters, yes.
And that's where my master was last.
At the Open Palm headquarters, yeah. Yeah, he's never really left there. He trains everybody, so that's his home.
Okay.
What are we doing?
I don't have a plan anymore, but
okay.
I do, but not one that I can have right now.
All right.
What's our plan?
I don't know. I mean, whoever's up there clearly is watching for these portals that I would not have expected them to be, because the only people that have been traveling with them have been followers of Orcus.
Unless they've gotten word that we've taken over Battleborn.
That's not to mention that they just had a whole handful of people go through these portals. There may be plenty of them in the vicinity. For an owl to just kind of appear amongst them and just kind of hoot and stand there probably attracts negative attention.
Well, at least we know where these things take us. So in a pinch...
Well, perhaps when we get up there, we know maybe it'll get us out of trouble. Maybe not into it.
That's what I'm thinking.
I kind of always have a mind for escape rather than entrance.
All right.
I say we each take one at the very least.
I'll take one. When he puts his hand out to you, Barrow. Muchas gracias. And he throws it up and eats it. He throws it up and puts it in his mouth. You see him what? It's a trick. And he holds his hand out and he shows you the crystal went just behind him and he was able to catch it. Just a little optical illusion. And he puts it in his bag.
I just do one of these.
Oh my gosh.
So out of character, is this something that Hadvar, now that we figured out, okay, well, they now have the red jasper stone, do you think it would be beneficial for us to have the blue one?
You don't know what any of them do.
No, and I don't know about them. I don't even know if I do know about them, but I'm just thinking as a Hadvar,
the base knowledge that Hadvar relayed to you is that the gods granted the Tabaxi clans of Ferristar, because that's where they were originated from in the first stage when they were created by the gods. Each clan was given a stone to protect the lands and to foster each tribe's primary aspects. But other than that, you have no idea what these things are capable of. They are stones gifted from the gods themselves.
I mean, I think I did relay that there was concern that this Arcanoloth wanted this.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Any individual seeking them is dangerous, good or bad. And you know that Min has one, and that she is not good.
That's why I'm thinking just out
Yes,
of character, not out of.
That's okay. Yeah, no,
And just kind of bring it up, thinking, okay, is that because now we know they have one of these very powerful items?
I would say that you would also have the understanding that it is not going to be let's just run and get it. It's lost in the ocean. You know, it's somewhere in the ocean.
I have like a 10 square mile idea of where this thing might be.
That's
and
generous.
That's generous. Yeah, that's generous.
Hadvar.
I know it's outside of Dry Gulch. Okay.
This
That's about it.
This Arcanoloth that you talked to, would he be able to track Min down?
I look at my I reach in and I look at my dagger, and how many stones do I have left? Fuck.
2.
All right, I still have two gems left. I look at it and
It pulses, and you can feel your hand pulse with the light very faintly. It's not an overwhelming sensation. It's just a noticeable one.
I'm gonna kind of look at it, and like I'm talking to Barrow, but I'm being hella dramatic. Talking to this Arcanoloth comes with a very steep price every single time. I'd rather a last ditch effort, I'd say.
To be clear, I'm not saying that you use the dagger. I'm worried that if he's looking for these things, then he may be drawn to it if she has it and is doing who knows what with it.
Do I get any from what I know about this Arcanoloth dagger? Do I know if this thing is kind of like bound to this dagger, bound to his realm until this thing's like used up? Is it like a genie lamp, or?
I'd say you have more of an inkling that it's
more of like
it's more of a contract that he's designed and just kind of thrown into the material plane to just see what happens.
It's a pager for him,
more or less.
Okay.
But the price of using it is obviously binding. There is an obvious connection the user has to the dagger as much as the Arcanoloth has.
Okay.
Is he still bothering you? Like, is he still contacting you and telling you need to find stuff for him?
No, that was all cured in
Craghammer.
Yeah. I just had to look at my handy dandy map. That was cured in Craghammer.
Okay.
Sounds like you all get into a whole mess of trouble.
Yeah, you picked quite the entourage to willfully be part of.
Well, I don't really want to associate myself with the rest of the group. I'm just trying to help you.
Well,
Thanks, appreciate it.
Oh, no offense there, Barrow. I just, I don't know. Just something about him, you know? It's not like that or anything. It's just, he has a sort of charm.
He does.
as you say that, I'm gonna like, kind of like, just rub my hand.
It's like, ooh. You rub the mark like on your armor, like, ooh, I feel greasy.
How powerful would you say this Arcanoloth was? Like when you were talking with him, gauging him, did he seem powerful enough that he would be able to end you fairly quickly?
Well, I had this whole elaborate plan schemed out, and well, he saw right through it. I'm pretty sure, didn't he cast like a hold person on me or something like that, didn't he? Yeah.
At one point, yeah.
Yeah. He put a I felt pretty powerless. That was a whole ogre's belt and or I'm sorry, giant belt and staff away ways ago though, so I don't know.
I'm feeling pretty good about myself now.
Maybe this is a bad idea.
We're chock full of those, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, you know how I feel about unknowns. But Min really kind of pissed me off a lot, actually. And she's a huge unknown right now. We don't know what her end game is here. What are your thoughts on sending the Arcanoloth after her?
Oof.
Telling him who she is, what she looks like, and sending him after her. Therefore, keeping both of them busy while we try and clean up the rest of this.
That's also sending him on a warpath straight to an extremely powerful artifact. Which, honestly, quite frankly, the way he works, we're going to end up being the ones doing that.
I hate to put any more burden on the situation. Who would you rather have this stone? Would you rather have, you called it an Arcanoloth. I'm unfamiliar with the creature. Or would you rather your old friend have it?
Well, the problem is that we don't know if she's not a friend. But we don't know if it's just in her possession or if she's currently on her way back, taking that to Orcus.
She seemed pretty adamant to
she's
keep
not quite a friend, but do we know her to be an enemy?
She was pretty undead to me.
Yeah, I mean, she pretty hardcore, like, cut me pretty fucking deep. Yeah.
Emotionally, probably, yeah, but we're all still alive.
She didn't attack us. I got to give her credit for that. And she did just kind of get what she wanted and left. Had she mentioned anything about that stone while you were all together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's the end of it. Maybe you'll never see her again.
Well,
Maybe she's content.
Except we're hearing that she killed her entire clan.
No, she was clearly working for...
Wait, did we hear that? No, the other guy killed the clan.
Oh.
The guy she killed.
The guy, clan. He explained that he...
Oh, that's right.
Stole the stone to bring it to Battleborn for some promise of power from Orcus, but in doing so left the clan unprotected and they were all slaughtered.
Yeah, it wasn't her. She's avenging her clan. Right.
And
on an avenging
she was
track.
always adamant that she needed to avenge the Yavapai clan. That was something that she stuck to since day one.
Barrow, tell
So-
me this. In your darkest hour, if someone gave you the power to avenge get your vengeance against all of those orcs that slaughtered your family, your home, in your darkest hour, could you turn that down?
I
Or
like to
even,
think that I don't have dark hours anymore, and I just kind of like glance up slightly.
I can appreciate you found religion. But let's be serious here. We've all seen some pretty wicked, crazy stuff.
Yeah, I don't trust her, and it's clear that we can't trust her.
I'm not asking you to trust her. I'm asking you to sympathize. Not rationalize. But if we're going to understand what she's doing and why, I think we need to understand where she's coming from. And if we have to end her in battle, then so be it.
I don't know if we'll ever even see that thing again. She sounded pretty adamant to just be content to take it and run. I don't see her wanting to be a part of nothing else.
Well, given the look of her, it looks like she probably made a deal or two.
Haven't we all?
Yeah, and guess where we're all going to end up? Right in front of Orcus.
Well, Barrow, you made a deal. It's just you made a better deal.
I've been.
I kind of look at the two of you about a deal.
Well, I've seen him do some pretty radical stuff, with the holy fire and his little symbol there that he's wearing.
Okay, that deal. I was like, wait a
we
second.
all make deals. It's just a matter of perspective, and her perspective is as clear as any of ours. Ultimately, I don't think trusting another unknown or bringing another unknown into the situation is going to help us.
I mean,
Have her put that thing away.
I've made my fair share of deals, and I'm going to kind of like open my cloak to show my dagger and close it again.
I think we just need to get ourselves over to Wizardton, try to end this mess, get our lives back to normal. I don't know who you were before any of this, but I'd like to go back to that.
I agree. I say we head forward. I think we've got a pretty solid militia here. And well, I say we do exactly what we are good at, and let's just go fuck this shit up.
I'm right beside you. You see him unsling the banjo and just start kind of plucking a soft tune.
All right. So, do we call the twins?
Oh, I don't want to be here for that. I'll make myself invisible if I have to. I will be right back. Decide what you would like to do, and I will be right back.
Okay. So is that what we're gonna do? We're gonna give the crystals out to the folks that are actually going on this mission.
No, I say we keep them. I think we're the only ones we could really trust with the. Oh wait.
But I've got 106 of them.
What if we could attach them to explosives? If we're far enough away and we could shatter the crystal from far away, it's possible we could make
what?
traps or
could we cast through them if we Could we cast through them, I wonder?
It's a pretty fast. I mean, they're open and shut. Would that be 6 seconds? So, technically, a spell is an action, so.
But unless you, speaking from terms of the action economy of the game, I could use my reaction to ready my action to ready an action using my reaction to cast a spell that I have prepared.
Mm-hmm.
The problem, though, is we can't see anything through the portals.
I don't need to see to cast Fireball.
Well, I was going to say our Firebolt or...
I was thinking AoE would be the way to go there.
Yeah, definitely.
Kyle.
Yeah.
Anthony, turn away from the screen. Are they shut?
They're shut. I mean, I am the DM. I should probably be allowed to see this. just gonna put that out there.
Okay. All right. Well, this is part of the question.
Can I look now?
Yeah.
You can
look.
Now.
If I were to use my action to ready action a spell, could we possibly send a spell through the portal?
You can try.
Given what I know about spells and how fast this thing is opening and closing, do I see myself as being?
The problem wouldn't be the speed or the timing. You can time it perfectly. It's the magic and whether or not it would actually
go through.
You need an activation for the crystal, right? You need something to teleport through the crystal. And it seems like in your experience that whatever breaks the crystal is what is teleported through. When those crystals spilled out of that chest, everything that they hit, excluding walls and floors, all the objects in the room, the chairs, the beds, the everything, got sucked out and thrown into this, what you think is going to be the courtyard of Wizardton's palace.
Okay. All right. I got an idea then. I heard of this spell once. It was like it's like a glyph of some sort, or something where you can store a spell. Do you know anything about that kind of? I don't know a lot about it. I heard Master Roku, not Master Roku. God damn
it. Is he related to Master Firestick?
Yeah. Anyway, I heard my master, whose name I definitely just said correctly, talk about it in my teachings, up and coming. Do you happen to know a spell like that?
Are you asking me?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm asking Amora.
Oh. No.
Sorry, I was looking at her, and
it's kind of difficult with us standing so close together. It's.
I'm looking at you.
So, if I'm understanding correctly, you're saying a spell that can store other spells inside it?
I know, it's crazy. I feel like you would definitely need to have some pretty powerful...
Almost like a trap, like a trigger. So if you step on the ward, it would...
Yeah, ward. I think that's what it's called, ward.
I'm not familiar with it, but the concept sounds possible.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay, well, it's crazy talk, I know. All right.
Well, if you want to contact the twins, it's still going to take them at least, some time to get over here. So we can do whatever we want in that time period. But why don't we give them a shout so we can get our escort moving?
Yeah, let's do that. Or if you want to send it. Right? That's how we were doing it, right?
Yeah,
That was my understanding is they would be contacted and they would get the ship ready and head on over.
Just be sure to ask them how long it would take.
It was the glass.
I didn't hear anything except for the second time that you did it, so I believe him.
Wait, what?
I felt like the vibration wasn't here. It was...
No, it was definitely.
Okay.
There's a farting noise that his glass made when he spun it.
Oh, I want a beer. I'll be right back.
Okay.
We still have like a half hour at least left in this session, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't want to crack a beer and then like go to sleep.
No. No.
Chug it. So then, yes, I will.
Twins.
Well, because I am casting
Twin.
at one. I'm not. Yeah.
Singular.
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember.
Unless they're an Etten, and they have two heads, and it's one person. Gosh, how would that work if you sent a message to an Etten? Would both of them hear it? If you sent a message to an Etten, those ogres with two heads. So if you sent a message to one, would they both hear it?
Are they in the monster manual?
Yes, I think so.
They'd burn through the response twice as fast.
They would.
Oh, did you hear that? Yes, I did hear that. Yes, very strange.
Ettins aren't that smart. Agaru and Agera are like highly overly intelligent, so they have that eccentric overuse of jargon.
They each have their own name, so you would only send it to one of them.
Interesting.
There you go.
So
Thank you.
Agaru and Igaru.
You said the same name twice, so I'll assume that you sent it to Agaru.
Well, because I have Agaru and I have Igaru, but that's not right.
No. There's Igaru, Igaru, and then there's Igera. Let me see his spelling. They are twins, so
Where
naturally they're going to have
I get to spell
similar
it?
names. Well,
I remember which one. The only thing I was just curious of what I remembered of which one that was more involved with that we talked to, or did we talk to both at the same time?
they were always together. They were, peas in a pod. They're twins. They're always next to each other. Igaru and Igera. Igaru and Igera. And they're both those 4-foot blue jay Aarakocras.
All right. Well, then I'm gonna cast sending to Agaru.
Okay.
Remembered, and just stating, "Hello, sir. It is Amora and everyone else. We are in Battleborn, and we are ready for the ships."
That it?
I can't. He wasn't counting, but I kind of. Oh, okay. We are ready to be picked up. Thank you.
Nope, that's it. You got it.
No thanks.
Oh, she's contacted us. Yes, she has.
Oh gosh.
Okay. So we will be on our way. Give us 1 day. Yes, 1 day. Okay, and then it cuts off. So they'll be there in 1 day's time. They need a day to prep the ship and to get everything situated, and then a day of flight to get to Battleborn.
Oh.
So
I guess I didn't tell them
2 days, a day and a half.
Day and a half. They're going to take all day to get the ship ready. They'll probably leave tomorrow morning and get there in the afternoon.
Do we need one ship or two ships?
You were paying for Uno's
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you were looking at these ships, they were massive. I mean, you had to go up hundreds of feet of stairs or the elevator, depending on who you were.
Okay.
But these ships are like 7 to 10 deck ships. I mean, they're massive.
Okay. So we would. So it's easy to assume that we only needed one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them were smaller, like maybe 3-deck ships, but the 2 that were operational were large enough to be sufficient.
Okay.
I'm gonna, now that we kind of are like hanging out for a day, I'm gonna see if there's anybody that has any issues nearby that needs fixed.
Okay. Roll an investigation check as you traipse through the city.
Investigation is a 13.
You hear of several issues. A lot of families are without food. A lot of families lost more than a few family members, where only maybe 1 or 2 of them are left, or in a lot of cases, children have been orphaned and they are by themselves. But more along the lines of what you're actually looking for to see if there's anybody that needs to be wrangled up. Thousands of people are talking about looters having gone through in the midst of the chaos and stealing prized possessions. With your investigation check, you get so much information that it conflicts and that you don't really garner any kind of leads. You just hear problems. You can see that the city is racked with issues. And amongst all of this, you see the celebration that is taking place throughout a lot of the city where, the problems have passed. You see Open Palm kind of keeping some semblance of order again, sparingly. There are very few members left in the city. And upon talking with 1 or 2 of them, you learn that it's because they hid rather than fought.
You know what really grinds my gears? No.
You grab a smaller dwarf Open Palm and you pick him up and throw him off the mountainside in your enlarged form.
Oh man, I really wish I had Featherfall because I could just walk with.
Oh my gosh! And just watch him throw people and just Featherfall and just send them go. No! What's happening? As they're just soaring through the air at 10 miles an hour. Why? Cruel. That's what that is. Cruel.
Give me the money. No.
No,
oh my gosh. We're going to start our own mob family.
So this is actually the evil campaign.
Yeah.
If you didn't know.
I just had pictures of Hadvar going across. Now he's just throwing him as far as he can up.
It's almost like Laura's standing there going, pull, and then you throw a person and she casts Featherfall.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I no longer have that. So
I'm gonna see if I can find a cart or something nearby that's just chilling.
Roll an investigation check. Or perception, I guess, depending on how closely you want to inspect alleyways and stuff. I'm telling you can use whatever's higher.
10.
You find a cart that's not in the best of conditions, but it's more of the bring out your dead kind of a cart where it may be hooked up to a donkey and it's pretty much just a small. Do you know what I mean? From Monty Python, the bring out your dead cart.
Does it look like it has anything in it?
There's nothing in it. No, it's what do you call it? Rickshaw. Looks like a rickshaw.
Okay. I'm going to. Am I able to walk underneath of it?
Yes.
Okay. I want to try out the.
You can crawl underneath it. You can crawl underneath it.
Okay. So I'm gonna hunch down and then I want to
easily.
As he goes to hunch down, I'm gonna cast Reduce on him.
No. No. No, you're not there. You're not there. You're
Damn
not
it.
there. He went off by himself. As
Damn it.
hilarious as that would be. He's by himself. Wow. Easily. You kneel underneath it, and as your back hits it, you push with your legs and you almost topple it over and you go, ooh. And you kind of level yourself in the middle and you're able to just squat underneath and just kind of lift up. And with ease, you hold this rickshaw above your head, which is about 250 pounds.
Cool. I think I'm gonna like this.
Set it down, and you see a couple of dwarven children behind you, and you look around, and they both just kind of go, "Whoa!"
Yeah. You're next.
And they both just run, terrified, and they just sprint down the alleyway and around the corner out of view. Amora, is there anything you'd like to do with your day?
I'm texting you. I just had to count.
Holy cow. It's like a book.
It's not a book. It's 25 words.
Okay. Message. Or sending, excuse me. All right.
I'm going to spend the rest of my day plotting the best time to cast Reduce on Barrow.
I will let you know.
Hadvar is getting more and more evil as the days progress.
No, I'd say he's getting more chaotic neutral.
Yeah, I'm
Very
definitely
much
losing
so.
my lawful good.
Oh,
Definitely going chaotic.
You've been off lawful, please.
Yeah.
You've been off lawful.
I can't help it. It's just the way I play. I can't stay
it's
lawful.
You.
It's
because
me.
of you.
Me. Let's face it. If I had all of these same abilities, I would use them for fun. But
Yeah, I always thought about like if I had telekinesis or like the Force, I would use it like for good, plenty, but I would
fun.
also use it for like convenience way more often.
Yeah. Oh, could you imagine a cop who could use the Force?
I've thought about it. Yes, often.
Of course you have. Of course you have. Stop. In the name of the law.
And they stop.
And they stop.
So I'm trying to think. So what time of day are you guys doing this? What time of day is it?
Afternoon.
Okay. So then I'm just gonna far enough away that I'm not gonna be near them.
No, they've both gone off. Hadvar went into the city looking for trouble, and Barrow went off to test his belt. So you're left alone, probably still on the top tier at the top of the mountain.
I mean, I want to go to. I know we're an open area. That I know that something happened before, but so I was trying to maybe do like somewhere I could like sit and meditate or sit and.
Do you want me to say the response, or do you want me to type the response?
That's up to you. I don't mind. I just that is what my.
Type it.
Brandon says type it.
Yeah. They're bad. I just need new headphones. They're old. I've had them for over a decade now.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah, I got them since I was still living at my dad's house. No, we'll probably just have to find a good deal and pick some new ones up. These are like. No, it's worth it. We can find some more.
They last long enough. You can use the earbud at least.
I need it. And then talk. I'm gonna plug in the earbuds. They have to.
They can't hear you.
I need a microphone.
Oh.
If I take, I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. We're about to find out.
Wait. Are you gonna need headphones now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot hear you. All right, stand by. There's an option to turn subtitles on that I just found on Skype. That's very interesting.
Yeah. We use that.
Not going
for
to do that
my-
though. I can imagine it's way off. Webcam, microphone. Yes, speakers. Say something real quick.
Say
Something real quick.
Nope. Say something real quick.
Something real quick.
No. Say something real quick.
Something real quick.
All right, I can hear you now. These are not gonna work. I can't use these. Sorry.
Did you
Or my
use
stuff.
like regular headphones and just have the mic of the thing?
I can try. I'll just use earbuds like you suggested and
They're
see
in
if
the drawer. Like, you know, they're in the drawer next to you.
my earbuds are in here. My black ones. Nope. Alright. Sorry, everyone.
That's okay.
It's all good.
Let's give this a shot. Let's see if this works.
Which one of us is carrying the bag of tricks?
Not me. You.
Can you guys hear me?
I am.
Yes.
Oh, you can?
You have the bag of tricks?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I have the bag of tricks, the bag of holding, and 8 beads of force.
Ow.
Oh, okay. I thought I had the bag of holding at the very least.
I mean, I might have given it to you. You know what? I think because I wrote down all 4 of the things that we did, but that we got.
Thank you.
Anyway, but it's somewhere. I want to be somewhere away from people. I want to be by myself.
So,
I think
Kyle,
you did get the
you-
bag.
do you want the bag of tricks?
No, I'm good. Honestly, like you guys can have the bag of tricks and the bag of holding. And I just want 2 beads of force, and I should be good. You guys can have the other 6.
Okay.
It's a rust bag of tricks.
What
Cool.
does rust mean?
Rust means that we can get a rat, owl, mastiff, goat, giant boar, lion, or brown bear.
I just picture when you were in that, and you were like,
Lions, goats, and bears. Oh my.
and that
Oh,
and that freaking elk popped down. We're in this little bitty cave.
Okay, so Kyle has 2 beads of force. Do you want beads of force?
Shiny.
They explode when you throw them at people. That would be shiny.
They also encapsulate if somebody fails their dex saving throw, which I think is 17 or 15, it encapsulates them for 1 minute, and nothing but fresh air can get through.
Cool.
It's like a mini prison.
Sweet deal. I dig it. So, okay. So we're just, at this point, we're just waiting for the twins to show up.
Oh, very good. You spend the day doing your stuff. You go to sleep. You have another long rest. So any spells you would have cast, you get those back. You wake up. You wait.
Grab a brush and
And
put a little makeup.
yep.
I am gonna look
After I
for.
want to shake up. After I want to wake up.
You want to do?
I'm gonna look for Altira.
I'd say with enough asking around, you'd find her. She is back in her shop. You see it's in the back of the house. A stone house, large, boxy looking, almost like a small fort. But the forge is open in the back of the house. It's like a wraparound deck almost, but an extension. Not a deck, a carport, like off to the side of the house, and you see this large forge. And you find her hard at work. She is back to smithing. Sweat coming off. She's wearing a leather apron. You approach her.
Hi, Master Smith.
Oh, it's good to see you again, Barrow.
You
What
too.
can I do for you?
I don't know if this is something that you'd be able to do or not, but I have these magic swords that we got from the last encounter, and I hand her the silver dragonborn short sword that I had found in the 1 foot locker.
Okay.
And the +3 weapon that was of my choice, I decided to make that a long sword.
Okay.
I don't know if this would be possible or not, but I have this mundane short sword. I was wondering if the hilt from this would be able to be taken from here and put on one of those.
Oh, give me a second. And you see her sit down with both of the swords and just close her eyes and put her hands over both of them. And she starts casting a relatively simple spell that you've seen Amora cast several times. She just kind of nods. I can do it, but it would lose its magic properties. It's the enchantment on the blades. If I was to deconstruct them, it would be broken.
Fair enough.
I can enchant yours. We can reforge it and enchant it. It would take me a little bit.
I should check in somewhere.
We're actually going to be leaving soon.
Oh, that's okay. That's fine.
That was the other thing I was going to ask you. So the battle here is over, but the battle for Middle Earth has just begun, and I sorry, no, that's just something that blew off the brain pan there. Anyway, Barrow is visibly like nervous around her. And I was just wondering if you seem like you're pretty capable in battle and whatnot, and I just wanted to know if you would come with us.
Barrow, I'd love to. I can't. My mom and dad need me. Battleborn needs me. There's so much work to be done. And she turns, and you can see that she's not forging weapons or armor, but she's forging just pipes and just beams, and you can see all of this construction equipment behind her, just steel, iron, just supplies. We have to rebuild. If I'm not here, the other smiths are gonna. They're capable, just as capable, but they need me here. I can't leave my home. I can't leave my parents.
Okay.
Good luck. I mean, I hope everything goes well. I know it's dangerous, but take care of yourself.
Yeah, you too. Keep an eye out for any other bad.
Always.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. It's, I'll see you around.
And I just leave.
And you hear that
Awkwardly.
ting, ting.
Here's looking at you, kid.
You hear her go back to the forge, and she continues to craft construction. Halfway through the day, you guys congregate back up towards the top of the mountain, and you can see off in the distance and most definitely hear the whirring of large metal blades spinning at high velocity through the air as a trail of black smoke follows the airship on the horizon coming around the mountaintop. And you see it find a place to land. It does so relatively safely, a little precarious, and you see dozens of people leave the ship and start putting up posts to steady to make sure that it's not going to tip or go anywhere. It's kind of like putting a chalk block on a truck. They're putting posts up at the sides of the ship, and you see not only dozens but hundreds of people still on the ship, maintaining several aspects of it. And Agaro and Agera are up on the deck, and you can see them wave down at you. And you see all of the mages and griffin riders congregate. As word got around, I'm assuming you would have told at least somebody, Tux or otherwise. But everyone eventually gets onto the ship, and the posts are removed, and the ship hums to life again. The blades that are off to the sides, to the back, and above start whirring again. And these blades, by the way, are like each blade, I'd say, is at least 20 feet long, give or take. And there is a set of them. There are 3 sets of them on each side of the ship. There's 2 on the back, 2 on the front, and then there's 2 up top. And they're all whirring. You can see there are several mechanical aspects that go through the masts, through the deck. Everything has this kind of steam, arcane powered momentum. And as the ship whirs to life, you lift off the ground a little precariously, and you take off towards Wizardton. The trip itself is a week, maybe 9 days to get to Wizardton. Anything in the time of flight that you at least want to do?
At least read the book. So that'll be something that
you'd have enough time to finish the book, but probably not be able to do much else with sleeping and helping odds and ends and whatnot. And if they want to do something that would require your help, you would probably take a break. So I would say you're able to complete your book for the 48 hours over the course of a week. I think that's easy.
Yeah.
Reading, 8 hours a day at a minimum, or 12 hours a day, you can get it done. So you get the benefits of the book. It's enthralling. You notice as you read it, you're actually kind of pulled into it. And a lot of it doesn't even make sense to you. But as you're reading, your mind is just kind of scanning the words, and you can feel it imprint upon you some power, some arcane power, as you consistently you have to cast comprehend languages over and over and over again. So all of your spell slots are spent for each day, but you're able to get it done.
I know that Victor is invisible for pretty much this whole, or did he find a place to hide, or?
He's mostly invisible. He has notified you where he will be otherwise. He has his own room. You guys have requested rooms for each of you. Agaro and Agera didn't question anything. They're just happy to be a part of this momentous occasion. They don't have any idea of the danger present. They're just excited to be on an expedition. But they give you all the rooms necessary, and Bean has his own room. So you're able to find him there if you need to.
I do, and I kind of, okay, so basically And being that I'm pretty, we're I basically like kind of want to set up a gambit with him.
Okay.
And essentially, if I am talking to someone and I say, I'd like you to meet my friend, Victor Bean. Or, I'm sorry, the Vanilla Bean Bastard. Alright? So I never refer to him, and I don't know if you've noticed this. I think I've only ever referred to him once other than Victor, like, as the
Yep.
Vanilla Bean Bastard.
No,
Like,
I've definitely taken note of it.
So I call him Victor. If
Yep.
I refer to him as that, my intention is that he understands that I mean for him to attack this person. So in a way that I can gain the upper hand in either getting away or getting an attack in, or basically this is a gambit so that if I say I want you to meet my friend, the Vanilla Bean Bastard, shit's going down.
Okay. It's a way of saying something's wrong without saying something's wrong.
Exactly, and I need you to act, and that is going to that basically, it's my way of telling Vanilla Bean Bastard to roll for initiative.
Okay. Okay. Easily done.
But I do have one other thing.
Yes.
So basically, I want to make two different things. I want to make one is we're fighting this thing, or the other one is we need to get the hell out of here now.
Okay.
Get me out of here, or get us out of here.
And what does that one sound like?
So I guess the attack one would be, I'd like you to meet my friend Vanilla Bean Bastard.
Yep.
Or I guess the other one, I will think of that. And
You set up two gambits that you're able to communicate.
yeah.
All right. Have you, Barrow, is there anything you would like to do?
I think that I probably am going to spend a fair amount of time trying to get used to this newfound strength.
Sure. There's several. Okay. I mean, this is still a ship. It still works off of sails. It's just more self-propelled than wind-propelled. It has its own capabilities of flight, but it still works the same way as a ship. So a lot of times things need to be moved around the deck. Things need to be tied down. Things need to be fastened. You step in time after time after time, and you realize where it's taking 2 or 3 people to do something. You're able to step in and yank on the ropes and pull things and push things and carry things. There are weapons on this ship. They're not what?
Just finish. I know what I'm gonna do.
Okay. There are some weapons on this ship, like cannons and whatnot. You're able to pick them up and move them as opposed to dragging them or putting them on a pulley system. So I
want to be able to help with that kind of stuff, but I also want to get a sense when I'm wielding weapons. Like I want to practice with them.
Sure.
To get a feel for so that I'm not awkwardly swinging stuff and I feel more used to it.
You feel at the start you feel like you have to pull your punches because when you lash out, it's going way faster than you're used to. And at a couple times, when you lunge forward with a weapon, it's almost pulling you with it. You're starting to get the balance of your arms and your feet, and you're starting to get used to the fact that, oh, I can wield heavier weapons. You take the long sword out, and you're able to wield that just as easily as your short sword ever was.
I'd like to step in as he's like practicing and kind of getting used to it, since I've had a lot of time to get used to it, and like basically just like spar with him, like
sure.
being able to match strength. Like
both of you roll attack modifiers. So whatever you want to use for attack plus your proficiencies.
Part of me feels like I should just cast minor illusion and do like a Jedi
Like an
montage.
aura on their sword.
Or like when he's going back and forth, like Jedi montage of him trying to control.
I like it.
I got a 23.
Okay.
7.
So Hadvar, where you are sparring with him, and a few times where he opens himself up, you're able to strike his weapon and almost knock him over. There's a few times where your strength is just more powerful. Barrow, however, you start seeing these openings. You've never really sparred with Hadvar. You've seen him fight, and now that you're getting used to his style, time after time after time, strike after strike, you're faster, you're more accurate, you're getting hits on him way more often than Hadvar is getting hits on you. And the few times that he's able to push you back, you're going 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. You're striking him twice as often. And it's a great session where you start to understand your strength. And everyone on the deck, you actually draw dozens of people's attention. You have a crowd around you. You see people start betting on you. You see people are starting to throw dice and throw money down. You see people betting gold on who's going to get the next strike. And you actually start putting on almost a routine show for
I'm loving this. I'm like
Yeah.
laughing, and I'm like, ha ha, yes, another good one.
Awesome. So yeah, so you're able to start getting used to it.
Cool. The other question I have is, did Tux come with us, or did he stay back in Battleborn?
Tuck stayed in Battleborn.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
But you have
toward the
Griffin
end
Riders.
of-
You have Griffin Riders and you have the Blood Mages that all have their own areas. There's actually a whole near the back of the ship on probably the second or third deck is almost like a stable where all of the Griffins are actually able to be housed. And you see that there's actually a ton of horses down there as well.
Cool. Toward what I surmise is the end of the trip, because I know that she's busy reading and all of this, I'm going to approach Amora just to see if she has a little bit of time to talk.
Okay.
Hey, are you able to talk for a little bit here?
Hold on. Last.
I'm gonna give you a couple of pounds just for good luck.
I was wondering if you could take a look at something for me.
Pause.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I reach down, I pull out the bag of holding, and I reach down in there, and I pull out King Aiden's sword that I relieved from him when he was being taken custody.
Sure.
Are you able to tell me what this does?
Yeah.
And you cast Identify. Cool. It is a +4 longsword. It has a few capabilities to it. This is the Sword of the King, is what it's called. As an action, you can cast the spell Inspiring Leader, which is based off of the feat. So you can give everybody the feat Inspiring Leader, all of the capabilities that has, in the span of 1 minute as opposed to 10. All good? All right.
Cool.
So the other thing is you can cast the Bless spell on 10 creatures using a D8 plus your spell modifier as the bonus.
Wait, bless?
Bless.
Okay, never mind. I'm thinking aid. Yeah, bless is okay.
Bless. So to attack rolls and to saving throws.
Throw. Yeah. I use bless for my artificer.
Xbox Live.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Nice support.
So instead of using a D4, it's a D8 plus your spell modifier, but it only lasts for 1 round.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of more like a battle cry.
Yes. And you saw him do that when he held the sword aloft, and there was that giant blue aura that encased a lot of the other members around him.
I can cover the purple with some green.
So there you go, King of the Sword, or Sword of the King.
King of the Sword.
You can be King of the Sword if you want.
I would like to challenge Barrow to an arm wrestling match.
I knew it. So as soon as the crew gets word of this, they go into a frenzy. They set up a whole area on the top deck of the ship with 2 barrels and a table with pegs that they fasten to the table, just like the competition. The what do you call that? Like the actual league arm wrestling, where you have like the pegs that you can hold on to with one arm.
Yeah.
But they set up a whole thing, and for about half an hour, people are throwing bets at each other and trying to gather all the money and all of the tallies. Barrow, first off, do you accept?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so you
And
both
as soon
sit
as
down.
he says yeah, I cast enlarge on him.
Oh. So,
Okay.
Barrow, you grow twice in size. You stand above Hadvar, which is a unique experience for you. You're now over 8 feet tall, and you're feeling good. You have advantage on strength saves and strength checks, of course.
I like cast like minor illusion and dancing lights to make them like.
Oh, you put on a show. You put on this whole thing. You both sit down, and everyone is ready. I need you both to roll athletic checks.
I just imagine Hadvar doing this, and then what's his face making him invisible.
Oh, Bean. You can't see me. You
That's
blink
it.
out.
My next character is going to be the entire card of WWE.
I love it. Barrow, you get to roll with advantage.
Because you're enlarged.
Oh.
Just make sure you're aware of that.
Unnatural.
Okay.
Unnatural 20.
Cosgrove.
Okay.
28.
House.
So, Barrow, you feel pretty confident. You're big, you're beefy, you got this belt on, you're feeling good, and you're like, I think I can do this. And you sit down and you grab his arm, and you grab the peg. Hadvar, you just have this slight smirk on your face. You're like, there's no way. I know I got this. And you gave him the little added benefit of enlarge just to make it fair. It's almost like when a father plays with his son, and you like, oh, boom, and you slam his arm down. You hear hundreds of groans and people that are absolutely furious because they never actually saw your strength in action except for the sparring, and they saw Barrows with him helping around the ship. A lot of people lost a lot of money, and very few just won a lot.
I like to think that somehow, some way, Victor placed a bet.
Oh,
I'd like
absolutely.
To just...
He absolutely did. He won over 500 gold.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna lean over and just give. I'd like to say it was a really good match, and I go over to Barrow and I give him a nice big, pat on the shoulder. It's like,
I want to know if you guys have a rematch, like at the very end of the week.
That's all right. I'll get you next time. It's all good.
So you guys are approaching the 8th day, and you know that by the afternoon of the 9th day, you will arrive at Wizardton. Things have gone a little against you, but you've been able to make decent time, and you're kind of arriving on schedule. Nobody knows you're coming. So
I was
there's
gonna say eventually I would hope that I would tell Phineas that at
we will
least
get to that.
that.
But it is not mentioned, and nobody knows
I
that
was
you're
waiting
coming.
for them to finish up their little duel, and I went,
All right. On the night of the 8th day, you all go to your bunks, you fall asleep, and you fall into unconsciousness. And Barrow, you find yourself in a dark space. It's pitch black, but you can see yourself, almost illuminated by a light that's shining on you, but it's from within you. The entirety of the space around you is just pitch black. Hadvar, you see this off in the distance, and you walk over and you can see Barrow. Barrow, you see Hadvar walking over, and you're able to interact with each other. Amora, you see the two of them standing together, same thing, pitch black, light on you, on them, and you notice Titan is next to you. You look down and he's wagging his tail, and the big wolf that he is kind of nudges you and runs off to you, Barrow, and bounds over and sits next to you, and the more you go over. And you see this off in the distance.
Stone can blow up your ovaries or do whatever is cutting edge plans.
A large monstrosity with bat wings unfurled, horns, and a horrible smell of decay, and a horrible smell of pungent death overwhelms you to the point where you almost gag, and it's hard to keep upright. You see this obese figure, but not fat, muscle, walk towards you. And you notice that his skin is red because it's covered in coagulated blood, and it drips off of him each step that he takes. His horns kind of rattle.
Is this what remains of ex-Nobis? Pathetic. I must commend you, however, on the swath of destruction you leave behind. Impressive even, in its own regard. You think you've foiled my plans? Where you interrupt single pieces of a small game, I am 1,000 steps ahead of you.
His image grows closer, and it's imposing as he takes one step at a time. You realize that this figure is 15, 17, 20 feet tall.
It's just,
I will rule the material plane. You will become undead minions under my control. Unless you wish to speed this process rather than hinder it as the thorn in my side you've become. Your gods have waited too long and can no longer stop me. I can give you power. Power to raise you to unfathomable heights. Faristar is just the beginning. I would make champions of you, each the ruler of the continents on this planet.
And you see he wields a small wooden spike in one hand with runes covering it that are all glowing red, a wand of some sort. And in his other hand, that large mace with the top of it, the skull of some creature you've never seen before, elongated with horns protruding from the cheeks. And he reaches out one hand as kind of an offer.
Go to your house.
As he reaches his hand out, I I have everything on me, right? Naked.
You look. It appears that everything is there.
I cast lightning bolt from my wand or from my staff for the Magi.
And you aim your rifle.
No, my staff.
Yep.
Oh, I was asking.
I'm
Barrow.
taking a shot. I'm taking a shot like the same time as Hadbar.
Amora, do you react at all?
Do I need to get my dice out, or is this going to be somatic?
I was gonna say, I was gonna either firebolt. I was gonna just firebolt it.
That's okay. All of you can roll your attacks.
He needs to make a dexterity saving throw.
30.
I'm sorry. It sounded like you said 30.
He rolled a 30 on his dexterity saving throw. I rolled a nat 20 and he has a plus 10.
Yeah, that's gonna be a 15. So.
15 misses.
28.
28 hits. Roll your damage.
I certainly. Oops.
Should we bring someone else in?
So half damage is 21 points of lightning damage.
Okay. There.
14 force.
Okay. So 35 total. You see the lightning bolt strike him dead center in the chest and pierce through and kind of rocket off into the blackness behind him. Barrow, your shot hits him in the shoulder, and you see the impact of it. And you can see a ripple of his skin and muscle kind of reverberate through one of his chests. And you see him just stand there and look at you. And he retracts his hands.
Miserable fools! You will die like those who have opposed me before. Enjoy eternity in the abyss. Ha 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 ha.
And you see him fade into the darkness. And you see the floor start to shake. And you notice that there is rock and earth underneath you. And you can see it start to split and crack as you see large chunks of it just drop underneath you. And you see that you're on a very small island, just big enough for the four of you to stand on. And from the darkness on one side, you see what looks like a centaur, but deformed. You see the horns have barbs all over him. I have a picture of this. Stand by. I want you to see what everything is. This guy emerges from the darkness.
Gross.
You see him just kind of walk forward and just kind of crack and uncrack his hands, and you can see his tail start to whip back and forth at an unnatural speed as a serrated edge cuts through the air. You can hear the whistle. From behind you, you hear someone going, "Help! Please help!" And you see this creature coming from behind you. Black robes just kind of swirling around, incorporeal, just barely making out a body as you see tears streaming down his face constantly. They don't stop. It's just one after the other as he cries out for help from you. The third and final figure that you see emerge from a triangular point between the two of them on either side of you is a floating orb. 5 or 6 feet in diameter. Decayed flesh can be smelled off of this rotting thing that floats towards you as a large mouth and a single eye appeared to be glassed over as you see blood dripping from its teeth and 6 tendrils floating off of his head, all ending in a single eye, all looking in your direction as an undead beholder starts floating towards you. And these 3 minions of Orcus move in to finally kill and rid Ex Nobis of their existence. And that's what we'll pick up next time.
All right. Good stuff, guys.
Yeah.
Well, hey guys, it's been fun.
So no looking up stat blocks. No looking up stat blocks,
No,
but
I
the
won't.
creatures that you're fighting, if you at least want to read about them,
Okay.
are called a beholder zombie,
Okay.
an Allip, Allip, and what's this little centaur guy?
Would any of us have known these creatures in the past? We've had
No.
probably.
No, none of you would ever
Or
have
any-
seen. No. The other one is called an Armanite, Armanite.
Or Hadvar's extensive knowledge of history.
Well, I mean, should we look up descriptions
If you
and stuff? of
if
these?
you Google them, hopefully you won't see stat blocks. But just for you as my friends, if you want to know who they are and what they are and just kind of like their personalities, just for the fun of it, I wanted to at least give you their names and why I picked them, because they all fall within the realm of Orcus. All the creatures. That's
I
fine.
know. I know that me personally, if I open up a book or if I Google it and I look at it, I'm not going to be able to not look at what they do.
Sure.
That's just me as a DM. So I'm just not going to. I've seen pictures. I know what they look like. I mean, I kind of
just
know
want
what
you-
beholder zombies do. So
I want you to know that none of the creatures that Orcus has ever sent after you have ever been outside the realm of someone that would actually serve Orcus. All of them have lore tied to his plane, his area, his city, or his realm in some capacity. So they are all still within the lore of Orcus's power.
okay, I do have a question though.
Yes.
Because Hadvar, the moment he started seeing himself being surrounded, probably most definitely started thinking of battle plans.
I will allow each of you to cast one spell for preparation when you saw that centaur to be like, we're being attacked. To say, okay, this is happening. So you can cast one buff if you wanted to on yourselves or the group or someone else in some capacity to ready yourselves for this fight.
Okay, cool. I also wanted to know where they were in relation to me. And the
I will
party.
pick up the camera and show you a battle map here in a second.
Okay, yeah, cool. I don't think I have a buff for us.
Out of curiosity,
Yes.
the Armanite
Yes.
did,
Does not look like Calathas.
Dude, you were in my head.
What?
This
You
is
are
a separate
in
creature
my
entirely.
head.
This is a separate creature
Okay.
entirely. They are creatures of the abyss. They have no connection to the Fae whatsoever. They just have the same body type. That's it.
Okay. I wasn't sure if like it was him, but he'd been twisted or something like that.
These are all just more champions of Orcus. Where you fought those Bodax with that black cloud, and those were his the vanguard of Orcus, where there were 7 of them, and I think you killed 4 of them. So there's still 3 buzzing around. These fall within that same realm. So here is you guys in the
Okay,
center.
so we're on like a 20-foot big, what you call it?
It's not even 20 foot because you can see it's cut off even. It's just barely 20 feet, enough for you guys to all be able to do your things. And as we zoom
I was
out,
gonna say, are they like float? Are they on their own little piece of land, or is it like they're floating?
so I'll draw them with darker lines, but here is the Armonite. You can see his is not connected to yours. His is just kind of there. You can see there's an empty island here. You can see the beholder over here. And all the way over here, there's another island where that creature back there, the one that was saying, help me, is coming towards you. And then there's another empty island over here.
Okay. Would you be able to take a picture? I just need to know, whenever I get a chance to look, I just want to know like how far everything is.
Yeah.
And do some.
Yeah, I have to take a picture for myself so that I can set this up relatively similar the next time that we play, so that it's close. No, it's part of the game. I just had it set up so that we can get through it or get to it.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah, I would have liked to try. Well, and I didn't say it, but I would have thought that I would at least tell Phineas that we're on our way, but I didn't say it. So.
And Namora is one of those people that just kind of loses her train of thought. She gets distracted. She was really invested in this book. She wanted to get through it. And I would say that you spent all of your spells comprehending languages so you can get through it. So you didn't even have the capacity to speak with Phineas. You had to get through this book. So I would say it wouldn't even be possible until, well, if you survive this fight, you can do it the next morning. Say, hey, we're a few hours out. By the way, we're going to be landing. Hello and goodbye.
So how much time do you think that we have? One action.
One action or bonus action. One spell. We'll call it one spell. As a, we're about to get into it. So I'm not going to allow attacks. I'm not going to allow movement. If there is a spell that you want to cast on yourselves or a party member, I will allow that.
Would you allow me
I'm just thinking...
to summon something? I was going to cast... Could I conjure elemental from my staff?
I suppose that's a buff. Yeah, I guess you can do that.
Okay, so what elements are around for me to use? I can only, like, I'm assuming air.
Air and earth.
Air and earth? Okay. Then I will probably, let me look real quick and see the...
Two of your enemies are hovering off the ground, so keep that in mind.
Is it safe to assume that we know that we're on another plane? Like,
you don't know where you are. The last thing you know is that you fell asleep, so this may not even be real.
Yeah. I'm gonna conjure an air elemental as my action.
Okay.
And that will...
On a whim, I'm gonna ask for help via message. I don't know if it's there. I don't know if I have to.
Who are you messaging?
Who
are you sending a spell or are you messaging?
Messaging is a cantrip.
She evidently texted you someone.
Yeah, beforehand. Not net.
Oh
Not right.
No, that was separate.
So on a whim, because of his response.
Oh, I see. You want to message him?
On a whim. Okay. I'm just gonna be like, help! I don't know where we are.
Okay.
Literally, it's just gonna be a panic.
This is not something that has to be decided right now. If you guys want to take between now and the next session to even change, Kyle, if you want to change your response and be like, oh, I forgot I had this spell. I don't want to conjure an air elemental. That's fine. You have until our next session to make that decision. So go through your spells, go through your abilities, go through whatever you want to do. Barrow, if you want to like hop on Titan, you can do that and then even cast the spell, because I think that's something that you're practiced enough in and akin to that's not outside the realm of preparation for Barrow. That would be something natural for him to do. Be like, we're getting into it. You just whistle and he goes under you, you know?
Yeah, and Bean is not here with us.
Bean is not. No. It is just the four of you. You three and Titan.
Cool. Do any of the people look like Katira or Ursurith?
Nope.
I'm just kidding.
Do I? What about
An
the,
undead beholder and a cloaked shadow figure and a centaur.
you said the cloaked shadow figure was crying?
Yeah, you can see, and it's it almost looks like black water, but you can see like watermarks coming down from his eyes, just one after the other, just constantly, and he's whispering help to you.
Did he
Do
say?
I recognize the voice?
No, you don't recognize the voice, and he's just saying help.
Okay.
Just.
He said help me, in fact.
Help! I
Me.
need somebody.
Help.
Not just anybody.
Help. So yeah, we'll pick up and we'll start with combat at the next session. We'll see how this goes. I'm excited to use a beholder. I couldn't do a campaign and not put a beholder in, so this is exciting.
Scare me. Like I'm absolutely terrified. Like me personally, because I've read up on beholders and I've thought about like throwing a beholder at one of my party members, and I was like, all right, you got your eye stalks, okay, whatever. And until I realized that, well, I don't want to say it. I don't know.
Now, beholder zombies are different than regular beholders. You know, regular beholders have their anti-magic zone. They have 8 stalks. This beholder doesn't have like a bajillion eye stalks hanging off them. There's a few of them, and they're all just kind of like slolling around. They all have eyes that are glassed over and kind of like they're dead. He's undead. This is a zombie that's coming forward, and you can see like blood dripping from his mouth.
I'm thinking of like 2 particular rays that are like extremely fucking devastating that scare me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, you have one coming towards you, so there's that.